Hi, this is Skip Stewart, Chief Improvement Officer with Baptist Memorial Healthcare. Today, we're going to focus once again on what we call the voice of the process. As we continue to improve, there are three questions that can be helpful. In the last video and on this video, we will continue to focus on this third question. How will you know when you've accomplished your challenge? Remember from the last video that this is a simple run chart and it is a graph where one scale represents time and the other scale represents values of the measure of interest. Now the solid green line there is the average. This is a run chart of falls for a hospital. My friend Mark Graban provided this data and chart for me from his new book, Measures of Success, which I would highly recommend. Now, the front cover of the book is in the bottom corner, and I'll reference this book once again at the end of the video. Remember, any measure you might use will vary in the normal course of events. Some weeks it'll go up, and other weeks it'll go down. If you do not know how to determine when a change has occurred, you will have difficulty in separating meaningless changes from a signal that you have made real progress toward your challenge. Now, the goal here provided by an executive leader is 31, which is the voice of the customer. If you remember, the voice of the customer can come in different forms. It'd be a challenge or a goal or maybe even a budget, but this is an internal customer and it is the voice of the customer. Is it important here to differentiate between the voice of the customer and the voice of the process? Remember, the voice of the customer will let you know when you have an unacceptable outcome so that you can take action to remedy the situation. But it will not tell you how to avoid the unacceptable outcomes or how to actually achieve the acceptable outcomes. So it tells you when you're in trouble, but it will not tell you why you're in trouble. And it will not tell you how to get out of trouble. Comparing numbers to goals will not lead to the improvement of the process. Goals are the voice of the customer, not the voice of the process. The goal approach does not reveal any insights into how the process works. Now, this is not to say that goals are bad, but we must understand the differences between the voice of the customer and the voice of the process if we hope to ultimately have the two voices in alignment. Now, to improve a system, we need to listen to the voice of the process. If we calculate what is known as natural process limits, those red dashed lines on both sides of the average of this run chart, we have created what is known as the process behavior chart, which is the voice of the process. The process behavior chart allows you to differentiate between routine, common variation and exceptional variation. It allows you to characterize the behavior of your process as being either predictable or unpredictable. Now, in the last video, it was explained that when a process is predictable, the process behavior chart defines what you can expect in the future. The process average is likely to continue to be the same, and the future values may fall anywhere within the natural process limits, those red dashed lines defined by the chart. Now, if this process was predictable, which it is not, then it would be operating up to its potential, and one could expect values anywhere between 23 and 54 falls. When a process is unpredictable, like this one, the process behavior chart helps you to identify those signs of exceptional variation. Now, there are 3 rules in total we will use to identify a signal of exceptional variation. All 3 rules exist in this process. Rule number 1 for a signal of exceptional variation is when points fall outside the limits of a process behavior chart. This is interpreted as a signal of exceptional variation. Exceptional variation is attributed, or you see there on the screen I say connected, to assignable causes, which by definition dominate the many common causes of routine variation. This is not only the simplest signal, but it also indicates the effects of the assignable cause, which is large in magnitude. This assignable cause has to have an impact upon the process, which is greater than the sum of all the effects of the common causes put together. It is very unlikely that a point will fall outside the limits by chance. The process is trying to tell you that it has a problem. Each and every signal on a process behavior chart represents an opportunity to gain more insight into your process. When a process is unpredictable, like this one is, the outcomes will vary without regard for those natural process limits. An unpredictable process is not operating up to its potential because it is subject to the effects of assignable causes of exceptional variation. So, since this process is unpredictable, the outcomes could vary outside those natural process limits any given week. By finding and removing the effects of these assignable causes, you can substantially improve both the process consistency and process outcomes. There are two additional rules or patterns that we will introduce in future videos as a signal of exceptional variation. Finally, process behavior charts are the way to listen to your process. When you listen to the voice of the process as revealed by process behavior charts, you can often detect signals that you would otherwise miss. Here are the resources I told you about. Once again, to the far right is Mark Graban's new book. And until next time, show me your thinking.